All right, guys. Crowbar Gym, downtown Leesburg. I'm Hansel Conroy. Just wanted to show you guys the Prolon boxes. So I just got them in, and pretty much I have a good 6 boxes that I got in. And last time I got these awesome bars. I'll show you right here. And these are fasting bars. And probably not seeing how it looks, but this one's nut, cocoa, and chips right here. And let's look at the other ones. This is actually my favorite. This one's nut and honey. So you can't go wrong with nut and honey, right? And what's the other one? This is dark chocolate. This is a good one too, as well. So let's talk about fasting. So right now we are doing a fasting week here at the Crowbar Gym, and not everybody is doing it all together, but we are doing it. And fasting has been used for a long period of time to really achieve different results. And the difference about fasting from the perspective of Dr. Luongo versus the fasting that most people do, like water fasting and or everyday fasting, like 16 hours or 24, one of those things. All those fastings are great and they really work. But the issue is that some people don't adhere very well to the fasting. They don't stick with the fasting like they should properly. And these are some of the problems that people have when they try to fast, is that they kind of have a very loose system. They'll eat the wrong thing after they pop out of their fast. They don't have a meal plan. They don't have, they're also, their fast is not consistent. And that's a thing. You need to build consistency if you're going to do a fast. Now, there is a 3-day fast that you can do. And let's say you don't want to do, you don't want to go out there and spend the money or anything of that nature. And that fast technically can be just a water fast, right? And all you're doing is just drinking water. And it's 3 days because you don't want to go more than that. There's actually a lot of YouTubers and stuff like that, vegans and non-vegans, that have fasted, and they have actually ruined their metabolism by fasting improperly. They've fasted for too long, and then of course when they bounce back from their fast, they have messed up their biome, their microbiome, and now they can't absorb food. Specifically, mostly what you see in vegans, they have fasted, and then when they try to come back and eat the more robust food, with a lot of with a lot of nutrients and nutrient density and everything else, like beans and rice and a lot of the heavier things, they can't take. Now rice is pretty light, so you can't handle rice, man. There's something wrong with you. Whole wheat will be a little bit difficult to handle right after a fast. 3 days is, if you look at online, 3 days, people will say it's pretty much the safest when you look it around. And I fasted off and on for years, and it's good stuff. You can't go wrong with it. But here, if you do a Dr. Luongo fast, a 5-day mimicking fast, Prolon style, these are great technically to do in short bursts when you can technically fast for 16 hours. You can also fast for what's it called, for 3 days. It's just a water fast. And when you pop out, you need to have a plan. You can't just start eating normal food or going back to your old habits or going back to your the disgusting food that you're technically trying to make sure that you don't eat again. So if you are having trouble with your fast, most people do, they don't realize that they're doing it wrong. The reality is that you're eating the wrong foods. You don't have a system. There's no accountability or consistency, and it needs to be a plan. It needs to be planned out. If you've never done any fasting, what you should start off with, in reality, is actually just eating better quality food. If you are doing a meat-centric diet, okay, then therefore you need to go out there and get better cuts of meat, organic, things like that, and it's proven that they do better. The reality is that these are, I'm going to talk more about different schemes or different systems that people use, but the reality is that you don't really need that much protein. You can do a lot of, you can structure your diet around carbohydrates, the fuel that is preferred for you. And just need to clean it up. And you do that first, and then you can do more advanced techniques like fasting, like 3 days, or water fasting, or 16 hours to 20, and then you eat in that little block window. But if you do want a real good fast, a solid good one, okay, what you should be doing is something like a Dr. Luongo fast, the 5-day mimicking fast, because the reality is that kind of fast does not really and hinder you from working, from thinking. It doesn't really cut deep into, and it was developed, in reality, to technically fight cancer, and that's why the Dr. Longo's system is a lot better, because you are in a fasted state, but without actually feeling the fasted components. And of course, the food is geared and the system is geared, as in the box, to technically make sure that you are technically hitting all your biomarkers that are tremendously important with your fasting. And I'll get more into it. There's a couple of videos that I've done too as well on this, and I'll show you the system and things like that. But it's a phenomenal system, and like I said, 3 of these consecutive fasting weeks. It's just 5 days. Usually, if you never fasted before, usually the first 3 days, or the first, maybe like the third day or the second day, is like usually the toughest for a lot of people. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that you are used to eating a Western diet that has the concept is called the pleasure trap. So high sugar, high oil, fats mostly. And these are all, imagine just having, like, somebody having McDonald's all the time, right? So you're going to have a detox mode. If you've already have started with a good eating plan and structure your eating around whole foods, right, then therefore you're going to have an easier time with it. But it is a great fast because it was developed for, to fight cancer, and we know that fasting really helps. And of course, imagine trying to tell a young kid, you can't eat for like a whole month, because we're trying to, get rid of like a tumor or something of that nature. So that's kind of how it was developed. But there's beautiful biomarker results that you get from the fasting. Great, everything from like arthritis goes away, different pains and joints, ligaments are better, you feel better, liver gets cleaned out, even making what is it called? Even having the ability to produce, stem cell growth is great, rejuvenation. The list goes on. So if you haven't seen any Dr. Longo's, what is it called, information on YouTube, go ahead and I can probably link it on one of these platforms. But I mean, it's just phenomenal with the fasting that is already developed. So the 5-day mimicking fast.